Ooh, I needed that. Okay, so I think it's time for our guest speaker. As we're on a light speed today. So I'm going to read you a bio from Sekou Writes, our blessed speaker and a blessed part of all of us. Sekou Writes has had more than his fair share of lives as a professional creative. Among other things, he has authored several books, ghostwritten a New York Times bestseller, been included in a wide variety of anthologies, written a few regular columns, authored an autobiographical stage play, and even directed a documentary short film. Probably what he's most known for is running his very first marathon just 4 months after his life-threatening stroke. Yes, really. He has a couple of fancy sounding degrees, like a BA from Morehouse and an MFA in creative writing fiction. He also hosts the podcast TV show Get Rich 101. Welcome, Sekou. Now we can add speaker to his long list of attributes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So, get my notes together. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So, I'm kind of glad that Reverend Mel is with us because I took a dramatic turn on what we talked about what we talked about me speaking on today. Went dramatically left. So I'm gonna tell you what I wrote. For those of you that haven't met me, on July 14th, 2022, my 409th consecutive day of running, I suffered a major hemographic doctors said was fatal. They said it was fatal. While I was hospitalized, I suffered from no memory and not being able to speak. I dedicated myself to running my very first marathon despite my physical and cognitive painkillers. And now I've run 2 marathons, 2. So I had an idea. I just wanted to share with you. And I wanted to share something with you that might be difficult for you to accept because it's difficult for me to accept. Because you keep hearing facets about my life that I've forgotten because of my stroke, right? And anyway, so at our last in-person session, I told Reverend Melissa, I remembered a song that I wrote in college, a song that I wrote in college. So the song was called Respect, and the fact that I remember creating a song, an album at all, was pretty crazy, especially that it popped up in my memory that Sunday. That was a couple of Sundays ago. So pause for a second. Reverend Mel mentioned in her recent sermon that the origin of respect is to pay attention. Pay attention. So Respect, that was the name of my song. Now, I'd written it for a very tough subject matter. At the time, I was a student at Morehouse College, which was all male and was right across the street from all female Spelman. Right? And while I was hanging out on campus, I found out that some of the men that I was taking classes with were secretly filming their sexual escapades and sharing them. This shocked me. This really shocked me. I couldn't believe it. So I wrote a song about it. Now, after talking to Reverend Mel and remembering some of this, I went searching for the album. And you know what? I found it. Look at this. Look at this, right? Me with dreadlocks. Yeah, this is it. And I had to, finding was a tough one because fees packed in with my stuff, and so I was trying to find every time she would leave the house, I would try to find it, but I found it. This is it. This is it. So I looked at the album, Sacred Rights EP, right? And the song was gone. The song was gone. The one I just talked about was gone. And I had to think very hard about why that song was missing. And it was a lot of questions, a lot of comments about that song. I remember Morehouse men were like, "Yo, man, what you doing?" Right? And then Spelman sisters were like, "Oh, thank you so much for writing that." And I remember there's all this energy around the song. And so I had to figure out why that song was deleted off the album. So I had to think very hard. And the answer was 3 little girls from my internship. 3 little girls. I couldn't explain how they couldn't sing, how they got sick, how they treated the studio like Walmart, but that's not really the point. Pause for a minute. Reverend Mel mentioned in her talk that the origin of respect means to look, to look, to look. So what is the point? Now, don't get me wrong, all the years that I used to tell the story, that was the point. That was the point. After these girls couldn't do it, couldn't sing. But now after 2 strokes with 0 benefits, it's definitely not the point. The point is it cost me $4,000 to create this album. $4,000 to create this. Now, who wants to guess where that money came from? Anybody? Anybody want to guess?
You.
Me? All
Rich
right.
parents.
Rich parents, all right. No, nobody else? All right. So that money, that $4,000 came to me from my grandmother in the form of stocks. In the form of stocks. In the form of stocks. A nice big stack of stocks. Instead of saving it, I cashed it in and immediately went and used that money for this album. Right? And the thing about it was, I didn't think about it. I didn't think about the stocks until now. And this happened in college. This is a college CD. And if I'd saved what my grandmother gave me at the time, that stock would be worth $80,000 right now. $80,000, and that's only adding up what it would be. Like, that's not even adding the dividends. With the dividends, you're talking about 100,000, 200,000. You're talking about real money, just sitting here, waiting for me, given to me by my grandmother, right? And I finally brought it home for me. Most of us don't think about money. Most of us don't think about money. We don't think about money the way we should think about it. Now I know stocks. Now I know stocks. And now I know I would have saved them back then. But it took me a long time to figure out what I wanted to do with my life after the stroke. It took me a long time. The answer is simple, but not easy. The answer is I'm going to teach everyone as much as I can about money, because everybody deserves to be rolled up with the extra $100,000. Everybody, right? All of y'all. Yeah. So there's 3 things you need to know. Number 1, money doesn't move the way you think it moves. It doesn't move the way you think it moves. And it's more about what you've done with your money than how much you've ever had. So this is a quick sidebar. I used to have a job, pretty good. I made $200,000 a year, but I didn't save it. I didn't put it in the stock market. I didn't do anything with it. So when that job ended, the money ended. But now I was doing DoorDash, right? I was doing DoorDash, and I started doing the right things with the money, putting the money aside into the stock market. Now I'm doing better now than I was then. Better now than I was when I was making $200,000. Crazy. Anyway, number 2, you're thinking that this has nothing to do with you. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. If you haven't given your money some serious thought, I mean some serious thought, I'm definitely talking to you. And number three, I was a car test driver. People are so tickled by this. But I used to get invited by Ford and Aston Martin and Lamborghini, all the big car companies to come and test drive their cars. And I was doing a test drive. I was doing a long drive from Nashville to Atlanta. And I was trying to change lanes, right? Trying to change lanes. You know how you put the signal on and turn the wheel at the same time? But the car wouldn't let me go. I was like, huh, that's interesting. It wouldn't let me go. So it was a high-tech, what's it called? Steering wheel mechanism? No. Yeah, steering wheel mechanism. And so it wouldn't let me slide. So what I realized that I had to put my turn signal on first before it would let me change lanes. First, before it let me change lanes. It wouldn't let me slide, right? And so what I realized is money is the same. Because we'll get more money to pay our bills and to make sure that the mortgage is paid. But wealth, you have to choose a direction. You have to move towards the wealth. You've got to turn your turn signal on. You've got to turn your turn signal on. So anyway, Rev Mel says, you're studying respect to pay attention and to look, to pay attention and to look. And you can't do either one without turning off the cruise control. So just call me what Rev Melissa calls me. I am your financial enthusiast. For people who think that there's nothing wrong financially. I'd like everyone to take a deep breath with me and repeat after me. I am so happy.
I am so happy
and grateful
to
be a multimillionaire
be a multi-millionaire
in every area of my life.
in every area of my life.
One more time. I am so happy
I am so happy
and grateful to be a multimillionaire
to be a multi-millionaire
in every area of my life.
in every area of my life.
Ashe. Ashe.